Hello, World Wide Web, I'm Dr. Shado, the internet personality of the best hair, and welcome to the reaction review for Joker. Now, as I don't do these very often, I have to do a quick rundown of exactly how this works. It's just going to be an in-the-cart review. I'm just talking to the camera, unedited. I just watched the movie last night. Waited for it to actually be light this time, so maybe the video is viewable. And I'm not going to spoil it as best I can for the first 10 minutes or so of the video, and the last 10 minutes I'm just going to go hog wild with the spoilers, won't even care anymore. And this doesn't mean that I won't do a proper long-form review cutting the movie apart scene by scene at some point later in the future. So, Joker, that's a topic right now, as all the lovely little pieces coming out about, hey, look out, it could be dangerous, as signs being posted some places like, we're not going to allow anyone in who's not at least a couple, because otherwise, you know, we don't want those crazy bastards who might shoot the place up show up, because after all the little things are saying that this is going to do that, and I like to avoid being political whenever possible. It's kind of hard with this, because that's like the only damn angle you're hearing things from. A lot of the reviews are already rolling in, where critics are giving it nyeh reviews, and audiences are giving it very high reviews, and I have to say, personally, I feel like it's just everyone's so caught up in the politics of it and trying to say that, you know, this is clearly not a movie that's going to make people go crazy and go kill a bunch of people, but also, it's not an amazingly fantastic film either. So, yeah, that's the position I hold. It's good. The acting is very good. The cinematography is wonderful. But also, you gotta really figure out what exactly you're getting into with Joker. And Joker is kind of, I would describe it as a dark psychological drama. It's almost slice of life in the fact that when you want to, you know, look at a movie and you say, okay, well, here's the story it tells. The story it tells is how this became that. How this dealt with that. How this went through this and came out that. This really isn't that kind of story. It's just more happenstance. You see what's going on, you understand the character. It is a character study into the Joker. But most of the events really don't lead into too much else. There are a few things set up, but they don't. It's funny because, like, the movie tries to have an ending, and because of that, the ending feels kind of disjointed, because it really wasn't leading that way. You just have, this is what's going on. It's all in all, like, it's hard to think of how I can spoil this movie, because so much of it really just didn't add up to a big thing that can be spoiled through anything but the title. Like, I mean, the movie, as you understand it, I would assume you understand it this way, is the basic story of how did the Joker become the Joker. And the gist of it is he's been the Joker the whole time. So it's kind of hard to fucking spoil that, so that's kind of the thing there, but you got a nice little look at the whole aspect of, oh, I got these issues, society should help, there are clear problems society should be helping with that they just fucking aren't anyway, so that's kind of the big setting is, one of the first things we establish is just society doesn't give a shit about things that they obviously should. And then things, all of the other things get rolled into it, like mental health systems and public care that way, and it just, you know, just the kind of one thing led to another sort of setup. And because it's so hard to talk about this movie in a way that does spoil it, considering all you're talking about is just the basic concept, and the basic concept is the entire plot, it's really hard for me to think of how to do this in a split between spoilers and not spoilers way. I will say, the performances I like quite a lot. A lot of the people who were just general people just doing their job felt like they were just people just doing their job. The lead performance was fantastic. He did a very good Joker laugh, but it wasn't used all that much, especially at the parts where you would think it would come out more, because you're getting more, is like he's more embracing himself and who he is after a certain point, and that's where you tend to hear the laughter less, because the laughter is used more as sort of a way to express turmoil. So as he feels like himself more, there's less turmoil there, so he laughs less. But he does a very good Joker laugh. I'll give him that. Yeah, there's the whole thing going on in the background, really, with the political upheaval, as the election going on. There's the social unrest, the, poorest of society banding together in this big movement of resistance to just fucking go ham and start riots and shit. That's just background noise. It is just stuff that happens that really does not matter all that much. And it really is just kind of, here's how the Joker became the Joker. He was the Joker all along. And for that, it's really hard to just pinpoint and say, okay, I like the way you told that story. It's like, you didn't tell it. You just, okay, so that happened, and 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 we ended up in the same place we started. It's cool. But, it was shot well, very artistically done. I did enjoy it. I certainly did enjoy it. But, yeah, it's a decent flick, I'd say. I'd say it's about a 3 out of 5. It's not something that I'm like, wow, that was quite a story, or, oh my god, I feel completely new and I'm really happy that I saw this movie. I am happy I saw Joker. But not, like, if I had missed Joker, I don't feel like I would have been, oh, poor me, I have never seen Joker, I'm never going to live this down, there's always going to be references to this from here on out, and I'm just going to be there like, huh? There's the meme, that's all you really need to know. You already know that one. But I guess about time, I don't know if it's been 10 minutes or not, but I guess it is about time to break into the spoilers, so spoiler warning! Okay, spoilers begin. Stories about the Joker and how he became the Joker, and we find out that he's been the Joker all along. Okay, so he's got this stuff going on with his mother, where his mother is writing all these letters. It's like, you start off, he's just a struggling comedian. Struggling comedian / works as a clown. And he's not doing so great there. The opening, though, like I said, where it was showing just society had clear problems that it should be dealing with, that it just wasn't, there was a garbage strike. Massive piles of trash were just piling up on the streets of Gotham, but there's a garbage strike. Can't do anything about it. Just trash piling up everywhere. Oh well, huge health problem, but it's your health problem. I got other shit to do. They're not paying me enough to clean up all that shit. So, yeah, that's kind of the first example of this. Has a huge societal problem that society is doing fuck all to solve. And that's our introduction to Gotham, which tends to be the theme for the rest of the film, is just the garbage piles up, and no one wants to do anything about it. So, you got him, he's working as a clown, he's a struggling comedian. His sense of humor is not exactly the same as most, but, well, he's just working as your basic-ass clown, like, working the sign job. He's holding the sign, like, hey, I got a sign. And a bunch of kids just come by, just, delinquents, teenagers, grab the sign, run off with it, run down an alley, which he follows them down, of course, where they break the sign against his face and beat the shit out of him. So, then he ends up being told that, hey, you left work early, and you didn't even return the guy's sign. So we're gonna have to take that out of your pay. So, that's how that's dealt with. One of his friends is like, you know what? It's a war zone out there, just fucking take this to protect yourself. Gives him a little revolver. So he's working another job at a children's hospital, doing a little dance and all this stuff. Like, if you're happy and know it, don't drop your gun on the floor in front of all the kids and have it be incredibly awkward. And then lose your job because you brought a gun to school, and also you're not even supposed to have a gun because you are in the system with the mentality and stuff, and it's not so great that, you know, you're getting your meds and such, but they don't work too well, but you're already on, like, shitloads of medication, but, well, you're gonna have to find some other way to get it now, because you lost your job, and City Services has cut mental health, cut public services across the board, including mental health funding, and now you can't get your meds either, and no one gives a fuck about you. And here's a bunch of people we have the subway scene where there's only the important characters on the subway bus. You got Joker Man sitting there in a clown suit, sad as shit. You got the one lady all alone on the other side, except for the 3 Wall Street guys down there with her, who are doing the drunken, rapey kinda, oh, why don't you smile more? Oh, he's being nice to you by offering these stale things that you don't want. You should treat him nice too. Yeah. Fortunately, it doesn't get too far past that before she gets the fuck up and leaves once Joker provides a little bit of a distraction inadvertently by beginning to laugh his ass off. And the guys are like, oh, you think that's funny? And he's like, no, I got a condition, but he can't say it because he's laughing too much. And so they do the logical thing and start beating the shit out of him right then. So he blows their brains out. And then that ends up going on the news, and everyone's like, oh my god, these 3 who worked for Wayne Enterprises were gunned down in the subway. And eyewitnesses claim there was someone who was dressed like a clown or had a clown mask, some kind of thing. And they fucking just went off and killed them. It was probably because of the social gulf right now between the elites and the working class and the poor struggling for scraps. And Thomas Wayne, who's running for mayor, is there, and he comments, he's like, oh, they worked for me. They were like my own children there. And also, it's clear why the killer was dressed like a clown. It's because they believe that we see them that way. As we are so much higher than them, are so much lower. They are nothing but like clowns. And you know what? That's exactly what they are for this. And so people are like, hey, that was not the right response. And it starts, the social issues going on at the time start erupting into, okay, well, we're just going to start we're going to take in that clown mask. We're gonna fucking do this shit. We're gonna put on clown mask. We're gonna fucking do all that. And we're gonna have our signs going like, no, Thomas Wayne, you're out of touch and we hate you and we're not gonna vote for you. Also, we're gonna firebomb your street. So, that's all going on in the background. And in the meantime, Joker Man ends up stalking this girl until he, like, gets in a relationship with her, to the point where she's actually following him to his comedy shows, which he does a comedy show and it goes terribly. He's got his little notebook of jokes, and it looks like one of the notebooks you'd have in The Silence of the Lambs, where it's got all kinds of shit just scribbled down and all kind of stuff. And there was some good jokes in there. The one joke, I hope my death makes more sense than my life, but sense spelled C-E-N-T-S, so it is a pun. It's about how people get their legacy is so much greater after their death, and it makes a ton of money. Ha ha! But there's this stuff going on with his mother, and his mother's got letters she's been sending to Thomas Wayne because she's saying, hey, you know what? I work for this guy for years, and we're like family. That's like he told with the 3 that were killed on the subway, that they're like his family. So I'm like his family, and we're in a bad spot. Family looks out for each other. One day, Joker Man opens up one of those letters and finds out, hey, Mama says that we're like family because evidently Tommy here is daddy. Tommy here is my daddy. That's why I don't got no daddy. It's 'cause it's Thomas Wayne. So he, like, goes off and tries to, like, Dad? Except, you know, in a lot creepier and more grab Bruce's face and force him to smile because that's funny, and have an altercation with Alfred and end up using one of the riots going on as inadvertent. Well, that wasn't a riot yet, that was more of a protest, but using one of those as just a little bit of a distraction to slip in and get face to face with him, like, Dad, you remember me? Is like, I remember your mother, she's fucking crazy and she adopted you, get out of here. And so that required a little trip to the asylum where evidently she went. So a little stop off at Arkham, check their records, and find out, oh gee, Mommy adopted a kid. At least that's what the records say. It says that the kid was abandoned, parents unknown. So the opening is there. Could have been that she had Thomas Wayne's son, and they just covered it up and had some paperwork, but Occam's razor says the kid was adopted. No one knows who his father is, but it ain't Thomas Wayne. So, after finding that out, he murders his mother. Like, bitch. And then there's this odd scene with girlfriend where he just kind of is in her apartment, and then she's like immediately just terrified and like, what are you doing here? You don't live here. Like, that's the scene that really confuses me, because they had been getting close up to that point. She had gone to his comedy sketches. They had gone out on dates. She was there in the hospital with him and his mother, visiting her. But now I can understand why she'd be surprised and shocked to see a dirty and soaking wet man sitting on her couch not saying a word. But once figuring out who it is, to still be terrified is like, and just to be like, get out, leave, and then he's just like, Prue, which is how they met, which kind of bookends that relationship. I don't know if the implication is that he killed her, but she's never seen again for the rest of the movie, so, that's just that. That's like, okay, I've lost everything good to me. I've lost my job, I've lost my health care, I lost what I knew of my family like 3 times in one day, thought Thomas Wayne was my father, found out I was adopted, and then I killed my mother. It's a really hard day. And, well, I still got that girlfriend thing, so, well, I guess I don't. I guess I don't have that either. So then, that's the part where it's like, huh? Okay. But why kill yourself when you can get a call that, hey, you know that show with the comedian on the television where your mother loved him, you watched him for years, and then he showed that clip from you at the comedy club that someone recorded, and they made fun of you because they said your jokes were just fucking terrible and all you knew how to do was stand up there and laugh like that was going to be actually funny for anybody else? Well, they want you on the show. So he goes on the show, and he's like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to go out, all out. I'm going to wear my nice semi-clowny suit. I'm going to have my face painted. And I'd like you to introduce me as Joker. So they do, and he's there, and they sit down, and then it's funny to me because it's the part where he sits down, and they're like, oh, you got the face mask! You're not like, but you said in backstage that you're not associated with the protesters? And he's like, no, this is not a political statement. And then spends the next 5 minutes standing on a soapbox talking about the ills of society. It's just like, okay. This is not a political statement, but since you brought it up, I am just what your society doesn't want to deal with. And you are one of the bad people, so you brought me on this show specifically to make fun of me. Dr. Phil, you son of a bitch. Shabow! Blows his brains out, gets arrested, ends up getting broken out of the car by the rioting clown people who are now just in full riot mode, tearing the streets of Gotham up like, fuck yeah. One of them kills Bruce's parents. I guess that you know, but, you know, that kind of makes it weird, because if Bruce's parents being killed by a criminal is the thing that made Batman like, hey, I gotta stop crime, then if Bruce's parents were killed by a rioter born from a protest that was pointing out the problems with society not caring for its lower classes, and just this definite things society needs that they just aren't willing to give. If that's now who killed Bruce's parents, then wouldn't Batman grow up to fight criminals, but specifically criminals who are, like, rioting for political purposes? Like, something like that. Wouldn't that be more up Batman's alley? Just wondering, if you have a environmental rally and everyone just litters all over the place, and Batman swoops in and starts cracking their skulls. It's like, you do not do this in my town! It's something, I don't know. But after the ending of shoot the guy's brains out, and the ending of get arrested, and the ending of getting broken out of the car by all the lovely, lovely rioters, we then just go straight to, okay, I'm in Arkham ending. And, that's kind of where it stops. Like, there's still a few more things, a little subtext here, some stuff that isn't shown but can be construed. Like, he's laughing, the therapist is there, it's actually the same lady that, I think it was the same lady he was talking to when he was actually getting his social services, just now she works at Arkham. Like, she needed a new job anyway. But he's laughing there, and she's like, what's so funny? And he's like, you wouldn't get it. And then as we see the scene of him dancing out of there, he's got blood all over his feet, and I'm like, is that an artistic thing, or is that he fucking killed her? It's not shown, I'm not certain. But, yeah. It's definitely an experience, Joker, but it doesn't really tell your traditional kind of story, like beginning, middle, end, in terms of, oh, now there's this great revelation, now there's that, now I understand how all this led to that. A lot of the things leading to the things were just kind of happenstance. I mean, it just, as a Joker origin movie, is not really much of an origin story when the story is he was the Joker all along. Now he's just off his meds. I don't know. But it was entertaining at the very least, so thank you all for watching. I've been Shado, and remember, this is not a political statement. Now, allow me to exposit all the ways in which we can crush the elites. I'm actually done explaining.